Hey everyone, welcome back to Real English Talks, the podcast where Anna and Ben help you speak better English through fun, real-life conversations. I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben. Whether you're brushing up on your everyday English or just starting out, we're here to make sure every episode helps you grow your confidence and fluency.
In today's episode, we're diving into one of the most common topics in conversation, how to talk about your day in English.
You'll learn how to describe what you do each day, talk about your routine, share what happened earlier, and even ask others about their daily lives.
We'll also cover some important grammar points, like the difference between past and present tenses, and give you some practical phrases you can start using right away.
So, grab your notebook, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get started.
Okay, Ben, let's imagine someone asks you, "So, what did you do today?" What kind of answer would you give?
Well, if it's still early in the day, I might say something like, "Not much yet," or "I just woke up." But if it's later, I'd probably give a summary of what I've been doing so far.
Right. That makes sense, because depending on the time of day, people expect different kinds of responses. If someone says that at night, they probably want to hear about your whole day.
Yeah, exactly. So I could say something like, "Today has been pretty busy. I woke up around 7, had breakfast, and then worked from home until lunchtime."
That sounds great. You use the phrase has been, which tells us this is part of an ongoing day. It's also good that you included specific details, like the time you woke up and what you were doing during the morning.
Exactly. The more specific you are, the easier it is for the other person to picture what your day looked like. Instead of saying, "I was busy," you can say, "I spent the morning working on a project for my job."
I love that. Being specific makes your English sound more natural and gives the listener something to respond to. It also shows that you have control over describing events in time order.
Another thing to consider is whether you're talking about your day as it's happening or reflecting on it after it's finished. For example, if you're speaking in the evening, you might say, "I got up at 8, made coffee, and went for a run before work."
Yes, and in that case, you're using the simple past tense because the actions are completed, whereas during the day, you might use the present perfect or present continuous to show that things are still unfolding.
Like, "I've been working all morning," or "I'm just finishing up a few emails."
Exactly. Those little differences in verb tense really change the meaning and help you sound more native-like. Now let's go over some useful expressions you can use when describing your day.
One of the most common ways to start is by talking about how your day began. You might say, "I got up at 9," or "I woke up late today."
You can also add a bit more detail by explaining why you woke up late. For example, "I stayed up too late last night watching movies," or "I didn't sleep well."
If you want to sound casual, you could say, "I dragged myself out of bed," which means you weren't very motivated to wake up.
That's a great expression. It paints a picture of someone not wanting to leave their cozy bed.
Then, once you're up, you might talk about your morning routine. You can say things like, "I made myself a cup of coffee," or "I took a quick shower before getting dressed."
Or maybe, "I grabbed a quick bite before heading out the door."
Exactly. And if you're working from home, you might mention what kind of tasks you were focused on. Like, "I spent the morning catching up on emails," or "I was deep in a meeting for most of the afternoon."
You can also describe how you felt throughout the day. For example, "I was exhausted by noon," or "I had a lot of energy in the morning but started feeling tired later."
Or even, "I was super productive today," which means you accomplished a lot.
Those are all great ways to bring life to your descriptions. They help paint a picture of what your day was like without being too vague.
And don't forget about the end of the day. You can say, "I finally got home around 6," or "I put on some relaxing music and unwound for the evening."
My favorite way to wrap up the day is with something like, I ended the day with a nice dinner and a movie.
Perfect. It gives a satisfying conclusion to the story of your day.
Now, let's take a closer look at the grammar behind these sentences.
The biggest thing to pay attention to is the verb tense. When you're talking about your day as it's happening, you usually use the present continuous or the present perfect.
For example, I'm just finishing up some work. Or, I've been busy all morning.
But if you're talking about what you did earlier in the day, especially if it's now the evening, you switch to the simple past.
Like, I got up late today. Or, I spent the morning reading.
It's also helpful to know how to use time expressions correctly. Words like this morning, yesterday, later, or in the afternoon help set the scene and tell the listener exactly when something happened.
And sometimes you can combine two tenses in one sentence. For example, I've been studying all day and I'm finally taking a break.
Or, I got up late this morning, and now I'm trying to catch up on everything.
These kinds of sentences show how your actions connect across time and how one thing leads to another.
It's also worth mentioning how to use adverbs of frequency when talking about routines or habits. Phrases like usually, sometimes, always, or rarely can be placed before the main verb to describe how often something happens.
For example, I usually drink coffee in the morning, or I rarely skip breakfast.
And if you're using the verb to be, those adverbs come after. So you'd say, I am always tired in the morning, not I always am tired.
Good point. Word order matters a lot in English, especially when mixing adverbs with different verb forms.
Now let's move on to pronunciation. There are a few key areas where learners often struggle when talking about their day.
One of them is the pronunciation of time expressions. For example, 7 o'clock is often said quickly as 7 o'clock, or even 7 o'clock in fast speech.
Also, 7:30 might be pronounced like 7:30, with the f sound replacing the ph.
Another tricky area is the pronunciation of verbs in the past tense. A lot of verbs end in "ed," but not all of them are pronounced the same way.
Right. Some are pronounced with a d sound, like called or played. Others use a t sound, like worked or watched. And some have an extra syllable, like started or finished.
Practicing these endings will help your spoken English sound more natural and clear.
You can try repeating these examples after me. Called, watched, started.
And if you're struggling with any of those, slow down and repeat them slowly at first. Once you feel comfortable, try speeding up.
Another tip is to practice linking words together. In English, we often link the ending of one word to the beginning of the next to keep the flow smooth.
For example, I got up at 7 becomes I got up past 7 in fast speech.
Try saying that a few times and see how it feels. It might sound strange at first, but that's how native speakers actually speak in real life.
Don't worry if it doesn't come naturally right away. With practice, your rhythm and intonation will improve. All right, let's jump into our role play. Imagine we're friends catching up after a long week.
Sounds good. I'll start by asking how your day went. Hey, Anna, how was your day today?
It was pretty good. I woke up around 8 and had a slow morning. I made myself a big breakfast and caught up on some emails while I ate. Nice. Did you do anything special? Not really, but I did manage to finish a presentation I've been working on all week. I was so relieved when I finally sent it off.
Awesome. I bet that felt great. What did you do after that?
After that, I went for a walk around the neighborhood. The weather was amazing, sunny and cool. Then I met up with a friend for coffee, and we talked for almost 2 hours.
Sounds like a perfect day. I was pretty busy too. I started the day with a workout, then spent the morning working on a new project for my clients.
Oh, how's that going?
It's going well, thanks. I wrapped up the main part by lunchtime and then had the rest of the afternoon free. I read a book and watched a few episodes of a new series I'm into.
Cool. Which one?
It's called The Last Frontier. It's a historical drama set in the 1700s. I'm only on the second episode, but I'm hooked already.
Ooh, I've heard good things about that one. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Do it! It's definitely worth it. Anyway, I ended the day with a homemade dinner and a bit of yoga before bed.
Sounds like you balanced work and relaxation perfectly.
I think so too. We should hang out soon and do something fun.
Definitely. Let's plan something for the weekend.
That's it for today's episode on how to talk about your day in English.
Use these phrases and structures to describe your own days and ask others about theirs.
If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode.
We also have a downloadable worksheet available in the description below. It includes all the vocabulary and grammar we covered today, plus a few exercises to test your understanding.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Real English Talks.
Stay curious, keep practicing, and speak better English every day.